There are certain things a woman might say that sound innocent, even sweet. But behind those words, a storm is brewing. If you ignore the red flags we're about to expose, you could be walking straight into emotional chaos, or worse, the slow destruction of your peace, your purpose, and your power. So here's the deal. If a woman tells you any of these 5 things, leave immediately because a staying could cost you your masculinity, your sanity, and your soul. Let's break this down, not with judgment, but with clarity, stoic wisdom, and a dash of brutally honest psychology. Stick around till the end, because the last one, it's a trap so subtle even the strongest men fall for it. 1, I'm not like other girls. You're sitting across from her. She leans in slightly, gives you that smile, and says, I'm not like other girls. Now, at first, it feels intriguing, a little mysterious, maybe even flattering. She's signaling uniqueness as if she stands above theirest. Smarter, more mature, not into games. But pause for a second. What is she really saying? This phrase isn't about confidence. It's a performance. She's not rejecting stereotypes. She's using them as a baseline to elevate herself artificially. And here's the stoic truth. When someone needs to declare their difference, it usually means they haven't found it internally. Instead of showing you through consistent character, she's giving you a shortcut. Words without substance. It's often a mask worn to void accountability, to excuse red flag behavior, or to manipulate your perception early on. Because if she's not like other girls, then you're supposed to treat her differently, right? Give her more leeway. Ignore the warning signs. Lower your defenses. Think about it. If Marcus Aurelius weighs in a date and heard that line, he wouldn't be impressed. He'd quietly sip his wine, make a mental note, and probably go home to write something poetic about red flags wrapped in silk. Here's the bottom line. If someone needs to tell you they're different, they probably aren't. And if this didn't raise concern, just wait until you hear what comes next. 2. My ex was crazy. My ex was crazy. She rolls her eyes, sips her drink, and casually drops the line. My ex was crazy. Now, we all have past relationships, and not every breakup ends on good terms. But when a woman repeatedly refers to every ex as toxic, narcissistic, or psychotic, it's time to raise an eyebrow. Sure, maybe one guy was truly bad news. That happens. But if all her exes were supposedly the villains in her story, then we've got a turn and patterns don't lie. Stoic wisdom teaches us, don't accept surface-level narratives. Seek the deeper truth. Why? Because someone who constantly plays the victim in every relationship is likely avoiding self-reflection. It suggests she hasn't learned, hasn't grown, and more importantly, hasn't taken responsibility for her part in the chaos. Here's the hidden danger. If her past partners were always the problem, what happens when you upset her? Will you become the next crazy ex in her story? You might be her hero today and her villain tomorrow. Unless she dated a circus clown, a cult leader, and a guy who ate spaghetti with his hands, maybe, just maybe, the issue wasn't only them. The truth is simple. When someone constantly blames others, they're showing you they haven't healed. And unhealed people hurt people. But if you think that's unsettling, wait until she tells you this next thing. It sounds like empowerment, but it's actually a wall. 3, I don't need a man. Here's one that sounds strong but carries more weight than you think. I don't need a man. Now, don't get me wrong. Independence is admirable. Self-sufficiency is something we all should strive for. But when this phrase is delivered with bitterness, defensiveness, or resentment, it often reveals not strength, but scar tissue. It's usually not about independence, it's about protection, a shield built from past betrayals, disappointments, and fears. Stoic philosophy teaches, confidence whispers. Insecurity shouts. True inner strength doesn't announce itself. It shows through balance, not bravado. So, when a woman insists she doesn't need a man, she may be building walls instead of bridges. Here's the danger. If she believes she doesn't need you, she won't appreciate you. She won't see your value because in her mind, there's no space for what you bring. Imagine joining a team where the coach says, "We don't need players, but go ahead and suit up." Would you give it your all? This isn't about ego. It's about energy. Don't offer yours where it's not wanted. But things really take a turn when she says this about your emotions. 4. You're too sensitive. She frowns, crosses her arms, and drops it like a mic. You're too sensitive. Now take a breath. This one stings. At first glance, it sounds like constructive feedback. But more often than not, this phrase is weaponized. It's used to dismiss your feelings, invalidate your reactions, and subtly train you to stop expressing discomfort. Emotions are not weakness. They're signals. A man in control of his emotions doesn't suppress them. He understands them. He uses them wisely. So, when a woman says, "You're too sensitive," ask yourself, is she helping you grow or shutting you down? Because if your vulnerability is always met with criticism, it's not a relationship. It's emotional gaslighting. And here's the twist. This phrase is often said right after she's crossed a line, insulted you, disrespected you, or triggered a boundary. It's like punching someone and then saying, "Wow, you bruise too easily. Maybe don't punch me." If your feelings are always too much for her, then she's not mature enough to handle real connection. But what happens when she stops criticizing you and starts blaming the entire world? That's next. 5. Everyone is just jealous of everyone is just jealous me. She smirks, brushes off criticism, and says it with full confidence, "Everyone is just jealous of me." At first, it might sound like self-assurance, maybe even a little impressive, but dig deeper, and you'll find something else entirely. This isn't confidence. It's paranoia dressed as pride. Stoic wisdom reminds us the wise man seeks truth, not flattery. He looks inward, not outward. When a woman constantly blames the world for her problems, coworkers, friends, exes, and writes them all off as jealous, she's dodging personal growth. She's rejecting feedback, avoiding accountability, and building a fragile ego bubble that you'll be expected to protect at all costs. Here's the danger. If everyone is the problem, then someday you will be too. You'll just become another hater when you finally speak up. Let's be real. If she thinks the Starbucks barista, her grandma, and the cat are all jealous of her, the issue might not be envy. When someone sees the world as an enemy, they don't make room for allies, not even you. If a woman says these 5 things, it doesn't make her a monster. But it does mean you must decide if you're willing to pay the price for staying. Because here's the truth. A stoic man chooses peace over chaos, clarity over confusion, truth over temptation. So before you get swept up in charm, chemistry, or childhood wounds disguised as love, listen to what she says. Words are windows into a person's inner world. And sometimes the best way to protect your heart is to walk away before it's shattered. If this opened your eyes, don't keep it to yourself. Like, share, and subscribe because modern men need modern wisdom. And in the comments, tell me which of these 5 phrases have you heard, and what did you do about it? This isn't just advice. This is your armor. Until next time, stay sharp, stay stoic, and never apologize for protecting your peace.